It's Tuesday, November 17th, and you're listening to the Geek News Central podcast, sponsored by GoDaddy.com. Geek News Central is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. Haven't got a great show for you. Lots of cool new stuff to show those of you on Ustream, and lots to talk about. And if you're joining us, no matter what time you're listening to the show, thanks for being here. And you know what's next. Strap in. Oh no. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
We're go fly.
Microphone.
We're go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right, I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There is no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Aloha and welcome to the Geek News Central podcast, coming to you as live as it can be from the beautiful state of Hawaii via the Geek News Central studio overlooking Greater Oahu. And you guys all heard me say, oh no, and what it was I went to click the audio intro and it wasn't on the screen. And I had to scroll up real quick to find it, so it was funny. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Again, my name is Todd Cochran. I want to make sure you get over to geeknewscentral.com. Check out the great content over at the website and really comment on our articles over there. We've got a great cadre of writers. They're putting out a lot of great content. Of course, the podcast is produced twice a week. Every Tuesday and Friday, the show comes out. I record the show Monday and Thursday night on Ustream. For those of you that are late enough to join me at the late hour in which I normally record. Of course, I want to welcome all of the Ohana to the show. Thanks for hanging out and being part of the family. And, of course, for staying subscribed to the show. I want to welcome listeners from 160 countries worldwide. It is my pleasure to bring you this show. And I hope that you'll share this information that you get about the show with your friends and people that you know and turn them on to the podcast as well. Hey, if you're new to the show, sign up for the newsletter. That'll get you tied into our network. And really what happens there on that newsletter is I send out twice a week the show notes of the show, basically everything I talk about during the show, including any commentary that I get from listeners, stuff that's been submitted via email. And of course, you can do that easily, and we'll give you some information here in a minute on how you can submit stuff to the show. But get signed up for that newsletter. It's not a talking newsletter. It's just, I mean by talking, it's not a discussion forum where you're going to get a bunch of mail. It's just, again, 2 emails a week, funny talking email. And anyway, that's a great way for you to get connected. Of course, subscribe to the show via the RSS feed on the website, via iTunes, Zune Marketplace, whichever way you may be consuming the show. I'm a little off kilter because there's been an equipment change here at the Geek News Central podcast. And little do you know, there's been a lot of change since the last show. Got the light situation under control, and I said, okay, what's next? Well, I really was kind of forced into what next because Saturday I came into the office and sat down and turned on my monitor, and lo and behold, the computer wasn't alive. I said, that's funny, and I reached down to turn it on, and my PC, that's been my working PC for a long time, decided it was going to go to computer heaven. And it really came at a bad time. I had no time to be putting a new computer in. I just kind of sat here and was dumbfounded. Everything, it's been a workhorse for a long, long time. It's an XP machine. I probably have had it, probably used it since we started the show. And that's really 4 or 5 years ago, right? So really, I was due for a hardware upgrade anyway. The machine was just like a Pentium machine with no core, it was just a single core machine. And, I pushed it pretty hard. So I had to have something. And here in Hawaii, when you need something at a short notice, it's not a good thing. It really, really isn't. So I drove around Saturday and went to Best Buy. I went to several of the local computer shops, and everything they had there was priced crazily. and used my Navy exchange privileges as being a retired military person. I went over to the base exchange, walked in there. There's a machine they have sitting there. We're priced right, specs I want. So, yep, loaded it in the cart and brought it home. So now the main production machine is now a Windows 7 dual core machine. And I'm going to tell you, I don't hear the racing of a fan. The machine is not lagging. I've got 25 or 30 tabs open in Chrome with 4 or 5 other programs loaded, and the machine's not even breathing hard. And wow, what a difference. And move up into modern technology on my own. But with it, I've added a monitor. I've rearranged the studio here. For those of you that are actually on Ustream, you'll see now that over here we've got 2 monitors where there was originally 1. So essentially the audio recording is going on. The TriCaster has moved over. I've decided I've been using the TriCaster long enough that I can wean myself from the looking at the monitor all the time. Monitor number 2 is a kind of a cool monitor because not only does it show that, I can actually bring it right into your screen. And I think that's the coolest part is I can actually bring in actual screen captures. And I think this is going to be a welcome addition to the show. The only thing that I'm having challenges with and what I've got up right now is the Podcast Awards website in the actual browser there, is that on XP, I could very easily run 2 monitors, have them duplicated. In other words, have the exact same thing being shown on one as the other, and then move into the actual well, actually, okay, what I'm trying to say is have 2 monitors with exactly the same thing on them, and then the second monitor actually being whatever size I wanted it to be, so I could really make it small. In order to put that screen on the TriCaster, I need to have it about 1024 by 768 or maybe even 800 by 600 so that it will actually look decent on the graphics on your side. So what has happened is with Windows 7, if I try to do a dual screen where everything is duplicated from one screen to the other, it requires, at least the drivers that are on my machine right now, requires the screen resolutions to be the same size. And it's driving me crazy. So I got to figure a way around that so that I can keep the main machine up at 1900 by whatever I've got it. And then the secondary screen, which is going to show you guys the links and stuff that I want to send you to when we're doing the show. You guys can actually see some of the stuff I'm covering. It'll actually bring it up on the screen, and you guys won't have to look at my ugly mug. So that's the plan if I can get it to work. And right now I haven't been able to get it to work with Windows 7. But there's another computer monitor at least in the. My wife walked in here and she goes, "You have got to be kidding me!" So she's counting 1, 2, 3, 4 main monitors for the show. 1 for the audio recording, 1 for the TriCaster control, 1 what's going to be duplicated up on the video stream. My processing machine, 1 to monitor the downstream. That's on a separate computer, plus the Mac that's sitting over here kind of running. Yes, it's a little bit crazy, but it is what it is. And as I talked about in the last show, I wanted to upgrade to a 1 gig network in order to run this program called IVGA that comes from NewTek. I had to have a 1 gig network between the machine that is basically serves as my mission control when I'm going through and talking about content. Talking to the TriCaster had to be on a 1 gig network. So basically what I've got is I've got 1, 2, 3 machines on a 1 gig network, and then everything else reverts back to the 100 meg router where I don't need the high speed. But I did put in a 1 gig switch as well, which really moving the 16 gig video file, the raw video file that's recorded on the TriCaster at night to the other machine, it's zoom. It just comes over really, really quick. So again, a little more change to the studio. I'll do a dedicated show at some point here in the future where it's just a separate kind of a ad-lib thing on exactly what the configuration is here. It's getting a little out of hand, but I'm almost at the point where I like what it's doing. Got a couple more steps, but we'll get on there. Okay, Podcast Awards, things are going cruising there. Man, oh man, traffic is just like unbelievable. Huge amount of votes coming in. Matter of fact, we've had some complaints from some of the actual voters saying, "Hey, my email confirmation didn't come through. What am I to do?" and we're guaranteeing everyone their votes are going to get counted. But people are getting a little overzealous. Some people are trying to vote 3-4 times a day, and that's being recorded. And those votes, except for their one initial votes, being thrown out. And folks on Hotmail, for some reason, are not getting confirmation emails. They must think we're spammers or something. But when we're sending, I think in 1 hour we send 11,000 emails, and when you start pushing that kind of volume from an IP that hasn't pushed huge volumes of email in the recent past, man, it's just so easily you can get flagged as a spammer. And even though the machine's set up to do 250 some thousand emails a day, that's what we're allowed to send through that machine. It it raises some red flags in places. Nothing we really can do about it. It is what it is, but we're guaranteed we'll get everybody's votes counted, make sure there isn't issues at the end. But anyway, keep on voting. Things are cool over there. Saw the news today out about Wizard Media, and boy, every time I see any company that comes out has discussions about their financial status. Of course, Wizard being a public company, they've announced their third quarter earnings, and again, they're sadly bleeding red over there. I'm hoping that they're able to turn the company around and get some cash influx going in there. But boy, oh boy, it's just another, this economy. We can't afford to lose another podcasting company. I'm hoping that you guys will do everything you can to support the folks over there. We want to see them continue to grow and have success. And competition's good in the new media space, and I'm hoping with it all of us can battle it out in 10 years or 5 years, and we'll worry about then. But now we want to make sure that these companies do the best they can in the initial time here. So we'll see what happens with Wizard, but we got our fingers crossed for them, and I wish Chris over there the best of luck in Q4. What else have I got going on? Hey, something? Can I ask you guys a question? And this is serious. I got I can't divulge very much, but I got an email from a company that wants me to do some paid twittering in and around Thanksgiving time frame. And I'm looking at the campaign stuff, and some of it's okay, but some of it I'm not 100% okay. And I just really, I'm thinking about that. Man, that, I build up a lot of trust on my Twitter feed. It's tempting to take the advertising. But boy, oh boy, I think it would be, I just don't know if it's right for me. And I basically, I'm going to email the campaign manager for that back tomorrow and say, hey, why don't we consider doing this a different way and give some suggestions? But I think the company is set on really trying to reach people through Twitter, and I don't know if I'm up to selling essentially my Twitter account for advertising. So what's your guys' feel about that? Do you guys immediately unsubscribe from somebody you think is trying to, advertise to you on Twitter? Or if it's a well-meant Twitter post that's sincere, if it's a product that I can get behind, would it be okay? I don't know. I think I know what the answer already is going to be. But, boy, I tell you, at this point, I'm leaning about 90% against doing it. Even though the money would be great, just think that it's probably something I should walk away from. But what do you guys think about that? And, I'd love to hear your comments about anything tonight, of course. geeknews@gmail.com. geeknews@gmail.com. Voicemail hotline is +1 619 342 7365. All right, let me look through the list here of stuff. A little rough start tonight, but I think we're going to smooth out here okay and be just fine. Hey, let's take a few moments here and give a shout out to the sponsors. You guys know where the bread is buttered here. GoDaddy.com. They take care of me. I want them to take care of you. And really, I stand behind their products. All of Geek News Central's websites, 95% of Raw Voices websites all run on GoDaddy servers. Lots of domains. I think I've got 200 plus domains registered over there, SSL certificates, you name it. When it comes to an online product, they are my main company that I go to. And they're ones I trust, stand behind, and fully 100% endorse. So, what are you guys looking for? Are you looking for a hosting product? Are you looking for a domain name? Looking for a SL certificate? Whatever it may be, when you get to GoDaddy.com, pick out the products that you need. Go through their shopping cart, and when you get to the checkout counter, don't forget me, because promo code Todd will save you 10% on non-domain orders. Geek5 will save you 15%. Todd20 will save you 20% on one-year shared hosting accounts. ComSale will save you money on .coms and renewals. Now, as a reminder, if you try to use one of my promo codes in conjunction with another deal, they won't work, okay? So sometimes you may have to back out completely. Let's say you're getting 10% off, and I've got a 15% code. Sometimes you may have to remove everything from your shopping cart if you've come in via a link from another site where you've seen an ad or something. So, always come to Geek News Central first. Click on one of the GoDaddy banners. That'll get you into their system underneath my referral codes, and you shouldn't have a problem having stuff tied to another promotion they have. And by all means, if they give you a better discount, then let me know, of course. But, whatever it takes, it's fine. So, again, GoDaddy.com, thanks for them for being a continued sponsor here. My daughter just walked in the office. She's sneaking in for some reason. She's getting something out of her. We've got a little clutch in here that's got pens and markers and that kind of stuff. So she does not want to be on video, but she's crashing stuff around. All right, hey, GoToMeeting. I want to take a moment and tell you about some very cool features in GoToMeeting. Start meetings with one click. GoToMeeting is available for the Mac. You can instantly change presenters from you to someone else. True 24-bit color. There's a chat function. Recording and playback. Yeah, you can record your sessions. Automatically integrates into Microsoft Outlook. There are the coolest drawing tools, and if you do nothing else, you can do like me and just squiggle on the page. It includes phone conferencing and voice IP, all under one package. As a listener of this show, you can try GoToMeeting free for 30 days. Hey, get out there and give it a try. That's a month of unlimited online meetings free. For the special offer, you must visit www.gotomeeting.com/techpodcast. That's gotomeeting.com/techpodcast for a free trial. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the regular content tonight. That's what you all came for. And the first article up tonight, and if I can actually bring it up on the screen. Let's see if I can bring it up for those of you on Ustream as well. All right, let's go ahead and move on here. Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen has lymphoma. Reported today that the 56-year-old has been diagnosed with large B-cell lymphoma. And this is sad because, Allen left Microsoft in 1983 after being diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease. And he beat that, and so now he's in another battle here to fight off B-cell lymphoma. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I don't know how invasive all this is, but this information was released today, and of course we wish him the best of luck and a speedy recovery. And it's saying that he is going to continue working at Vulcan. This is a company that he founded, which involves DreamWorks, SKG, Oxygen Media, and a cable provider, Charter Communications. So he's going to continue to work at Vulcan. eWeek survey. Those of you that are running Windows 7, Microsoft has issued an advisory on Windows 7 security bug, and this is a big one here. So those of you that are running Windows 7 and you have that computer hooked directly to the internet, you are at very, very high risk. You need to make sure that you have your Windows 7 machine at this time behind a firewall. You do everything that you can to keep anything from connecting to ports 139 and 445. The machine can be essentially rendered inoperable. Right now they're saying that the machine cannot be essentially taken over. It's a web-based attack scenario where an attacker would have to host a web page. It contains a craftily special URI, and if you go to that website, it will force a connection to your actual computer, and then your machine would be controlled, or it initially stopped. It would it would allow the machine to not. It would stop the machine from responding to the internet. I'm just like tripping all over myself tonight. And they say when you essentially to recover, you'd have to reboot your machine. So information out on Windows 7, and hopefully they'll get that patched here soon. And at the worst, I guess, if you don't block ports 139 or ports 445, then the worst that really can happen is the machine stops working, and all you have to do is reboot it to get regain access until the attack starts again. Over on Reuters, the Oxford American Dictionary has named unfriend as the word of the year, and it's chosen from a list of finalists with tech-savvy bent. Unfriend was defined as a verb that means to remove someone as a friend on a social networking site such as Facebook. So as podcast was the word of the year for, I believe, 2005, unfriend is the word for 2009. All right, how many of you have been bothered by the Twitter recommend list? Twitter has vowed to overhaul its user list, and what's really driven it is that there was some complaints by political organizations saying that Twitter was unfairly listing specific people running for a gubernatorial position in California, and while at the same time they were listing one side of a ticket, they weren't listing folks on the other side. So they really targeted the Twitter folks for being unpartisan, for running a public website and basically showing their political affiliation through essentially their user list, their recommended user list. And they've relented at least on that. Now they're showing a fair balance, I guess, of both parties. But in a speech that happened in Malaysia, Twitter co-founder Biz Stone said that the company will overhaul its suggested user list and will, with a more computerized type of, basically they're going to use computers to determine who they recommend the list to. So no longer will individuals in the company actually be selecting people, and they're going to be using the computer algorithms to kind of suggest based upon an individual's profile of who they should add to a suggested list. So, it's not going away. It's just going to be overhauled. And boy, I tell you, there's a lot of people that have been willing to pay a lot of money to be on that list. Example, one individual, and let's see here if I just give you an example. Former Congressman Tom Campbell went from 1,600 followers to 57,500 in a single week by being on the recommended follow list on Twitter. So it just shows you the power of being on that list and the number of people coming in and looking to add anyone to their follow list. So pretty cool. Hey, there's a good article on PC World talking about 10 fascinating facts about Black Friday. And here's a few for you. Walmart will stay open 24 hours. The deals start at 5 a.m. The bad economics is going to actually drive a lot of deals. And you're going to see $299 laptops and $99 Blu-ray players on Black Friday. Target's going to be offering appliances starting at $3 by a company called Chefmate. Social networking sites obviously are going to be pimping products to you. And I guess I kind of hinted at that here by what some companies are planning to do on Twitter. HD TVs are expected to be at all-time lows. $663 Sony 40-inch LCD 1080p HD TV from Best Buy and a $590 Toshiba 40-inch 1080p from Sears. And these aren't the latest models, but these are what's going to be on sale. There's going to be a Big Mac sale. There's a rumor, and I've actually got a link to an article tonight on percentage discounts that's going to happen. So lots of stuff going on for upcoming Black Friday. So I have this link up here. This is an article on PC World, giving you some idea of what's going to be happening. Of course, the online shopping the following Monday will be just as big as well. All right, if you're a Snow Leopard user and you've had trouble getting some of your printers running, Apple has posted printer driver updates. And they've released driver updates for Canon's, Brother, HP, and Lexmark printers. So I know I've got a printer driver that I'm looking for, and hopefully it's in the update. 387 megs is what I've got to download to find my printer driver. It's in amongst that stack somewhere. And some decent download sizes, and they basically clump them together in like a all-in-one package. So they're available on the Apple website. I'll have a link to that in the show notes. Okay, let's talk a little bit about a SSL attack. Secure socket layers are supposed to be really our way of doing stuff secure on the internet. And when you go to your banking site, when you go to any other site that it requires a secure socket layer, you usually feel that you're pretty safe when you're on that site because the data is encrypted, and that you feel that you can work at ease. But it appears since last week, when a Turkish grad student devised a serious real world attack on Twitter, that essentially he was able to hack a Twitter account by using this vulnerability in the SSL protocol, and actually posted the specifics of that protocol. They're starting to see some real-world exploits starting to occur, and all this is really requires a man in the middle stealing credentials of a user, authenticating himself through HTTPS to a trusted website. So pretty scary stuff when you consider that you go over to your bank, you log in, you do your banking business, and you log out, and who knows, someone actually may have your account data and where you think you've been secure. So there's been some meetings, as we talked about in the last show. There's been some secret meetings going on to figure out how to make the SSL essentially the secure socket secure again. So we'll see what happens with this, but the protocol is probably going to be going some change just because it has to. I don't know what the long-term ramifications are here, or how easy it is to do the man-in-the-middle exploit that's being done, but the attack description is available out on a website now, so you know that all the bad guys in the world are going to be trying to go after this, and it can't be a good thing for any of us if that happens. All right, next article up, 100 million core supercomputers coming by 2018. Now, I think it's pretty cool that I got 8 cores running, and on my Mac Pro I've got 16. I think that's pretty cool, but can you imagine what would we even do with that power? Well, you and I wouldn't do anything with a 100 million core supercomputer, but a lot of other people would. And what they've started to do now is really shoot towards that. They're going to not necessarily be used for DoD purposes, but they're working on high-resolution climate models, bioenergy products, smart grid development, as well as fusion energy design. There is a project underway in France that's going to be essentially using supercomputers to really look at fusion energy design. And they feel that 10 years to get to 100 million core supercomputers is not out of line. And that's what it's going to take to do some of the modeling that they're going to need. And they're calling it the problems involved in reaching exaflop scale. Exaflop being 100 million is going to be huge, and it does go a little bit beyond Moore's law at this point. But the goal is to get that many core supercomputer by 2018. So that's big. All right, we've all heard that jingle, freecreditreport.com, where that knucklehead singing on the TV, and he's playing the guitar and he's a pirate or whatever. But freecreditreport.com has won an injunction over 1,000 domain names in a dispute process. They were actually able to get 1,017 separate domain names in a single dispute. This is huge. 1,017 domains in a single dispute resolution. Companies get 10, 15, 20, 25, something to that effect. But as TechDirt reports, this massive resolution to them raises some questions on exactly what did they get. Did they get any of those domain names where, freecreditreport.com sucks, freecreditreport.sucks.com, or, did they get any of those? And so they're trying to figure out what the full list is, and they're going to come back and report on that. But trademark judge granted freecreditreport.com all of those domains. So that means a lot of people that have domains were impacted. And I don't know if that was actually impacting on freecreditreport.com's business, but it definitely didn't hurt it, that's for sure, to get 1,017 domains turned over to you in a single swoop. All right, talked about in the last show how the MPAA shut down that Muni Wi-Fi in Ohio. Well, I guess they got some bad press about that. Duh, do you think? So what has ended up happening here is that the MPAA, along with Sony Pictures, realized that the press hit that they took on this was pretty bad. So Sony Pictures contacted the town and asked them to turn the Wi-Fi back on, while also claiming it could help the town set up tools to block such things in the future. You know, why didn't they just do this in the first place? You know, and Tech Dirt says the same exact thing. They said they probably could have done this in the first place and would have gained PR points instead of, you know, being the bad guys on the block. But, you know, as we reported in the last show, or as I reported in the last show, I just don't understand their thought process behind this. I really, you know, initially I didn't understand it. And first of all, I found it hard to believe that they could have that much power to get it shut down. But they did. And of course, now that they backed off, it's good. But I still think on the basis of this is that it was wrong. Now, if the MPAA had went and got an injunction, a court injunction, and presented that to the municipality, that's one thing. And actually got a court to approve the injunction, that's one thing. But absolutely being able to shut down a whole town just by saying you need to shut down, I think is incorrect and shouldn't have happened that way. So we'll see. We'll see if this happens again. All right, this is an amazing one from American Airlines. All right, imagine you're a web developer at American Airlines, and you decide to respond to some criticism from a customer about the layout of the American Airlines website. Okay, basically the customers come there and said, "Oh man, I can't cruise your site because I'm having problems here, here, and here." And the employee at American Airlines responds and basically says, you know, it's hard to have a good balance, blah, blah, blah. We're making some improvements in this area, in this area, in this area. And, you know, the American Airlines employee tried to have a reasonable response. Well, American didn't think that he should have responded at all and fired the developer. So this is it's an interesting development. Here you have a guy that tried to do good and tried to make a responsible response, but yet the hierarchy at American Airlines fired the employee. Now, what does this say about American Airlines? It makes me really think if I want to do business with them, if they're going to treat their employees that way. Now, if that employee had an explicit contract, basically in his contract, it says you shall not talk to the public, well, maybe that was a different story. But at the same point, you know, they could have reprimanded him. They didn't have to go to such lengths. But it makes me really wonder if American Airlines really appreciates people's opinions. You know, this guy walked away and said, wow, they responded. And now he's like, wow, they responded, but they fired him? Yeah, you can almost be guaranteed that individual will not fly American anymore. So what are you guys' comments? What do you guys think? geeknews@gmail.com, voicemail hotline, +1 619 342 7365. All right, space news. Atlantis liftoff on mission to the International Space Station carrying 27,500 pounds of spare supplies. This is a spare parts run, and I had to laugh because when they did the launch, one of the mission controllers says the Space Shuttle Atlantis is on a highway STS-129 on a direct path to the National Space Station. I had to laugh. It was pretty cool how he said it. But they're on an 11-day mission, and essentially what they're going to be doing is just strapping stuff wherever they can onto the International Space Station. I guess they're bringing up so much stuff, they're just going to kind of stack it. they can't put this stuff inside, so they're gonna be attaching it to trusses and slapping it on side with Velcro, and I guess it's just all kinds of ways that they're gonna be holding this gear to the station. But with very few shuttle flights left, they got to get those spare parts up because we're gonna be a long time before we can really lift any of those big, super big items into space. So it's kind of funny to watch hear them talk about the flight today, especially how and it's basically a spare parts run. So we'll see what happens here, but looks like everything's going good for the crew, and they'll have a docking on Wednesday. Now, there's been a lot of business at the International Space Station because the Russian module docked at the International Station on Thursday of last week, 2 days after its launch from Kazakhstan, and this brought a service module to the aircraft to the International Space Station along with a Progress spacecraft. So it docked on the Zenith port of the Zvezda service module, and everything looks good there. Now, big news, of course, out of NASA on Friday, and if you had to have been not have any internet turned on all weekend to not have heard this news already. But remember, they crashed that L Cross, the lunar crater observation and sensing satellite into that crater. Well, NASA says they have found significant water deposits on the moon, and the scientists are just going crazy. The near-infrared spectra contain the signature of water ice as well as other unidentified compounds. The amount of water was much greater than what had been detected in a lunar regolith, whatever that is. Lunar regolith? All right, someone. I'm going to have to Google that after the show. And they apparently think there was about 100 kilograms in the plume kicked up by the impact. 100 kilograms. That's a lot, if you think about it. But remember, this crater has not seen the sun really in a million years or billion years or whatever it may be, the number of years that they say that really this crater's been shadowed. So how deep would they have to go into the surface to find any other water? And then at what quantities? But it does raise some interesting, it's very interesting developments for any future missions to the moon. Did I say Mars earlier? To the moon. So, okay, anyway, let me go ahead and move on to the next article here. Let's talk a little bit about Mark Cuban. He's got two things I want to share with him tonight. You guys remember that Madoff character, that scam artist, that Ponzi schemer who stole billions of dollars? Well, they've arrested the two programmers that work for him, and they're being investigated because I guess if you're going to steal a bunch of money, you got to be able to hide it in the spreadsheet somehow. So the two programmers that work for him are under arrest, and they're probably going to be going to the big house, and it's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens here with them. So Mark Cuban predicted that this would happen back in January. He didn't know how Madoff was capable of essentially hiding all this money and doing the shuffling that he did without any programming support, because he felt that off-the-shelf software, accounting software, it would be impossible for all the numbers to balance, and even a small accounting firm would figure out something was up. So he had predicted in January, find the programmers who wrote the software and you'll find out how the whole thing works. So I think the feds are onto that. Along with this article, he goes on to talk about Google a little more and about News Corp and other groups that want to essentially no longer be listed in Google. And he says, hey, it's an easy thing. You take $1 billion and you figure out what the top 100,000 sites are, and you use that $1 billion to pay each one of those sites to add a robots text file in their website, config files to block Google from indexing the website, and then you partner up with Yahoo or Microsoft and have your traffic listed over there exclusively. Go into some type of advertising special bennies deals, he thinks for $1 billion that someone could bring Google to its knees by getting the top 100,000 websites to move away and no longer be listed in Google. Now, of course, you think about that. All right, what if you're the number 5,000th website that they contact to move, and you say, okay, I'm going to roll my dice and I'm going to stay on Google and hoping that the other 99,999 sites move or put robots text in. That makes me king of the hill. So, but he thinks that with $1 billion and with 100,000 sites adding robots.txt exclusions for Google, that they could bring Google to its knees. Now, I don't think it'll ever happen, but it's an interesting idea. He seems to think that it would take a lot of money to get the Microsofts of the world and different groups to do that. So a lot of that $1 billion would be tied up in paying some of the, maybe the top 25 or 100 sites, and then the rest of the peons below that would just get a few bucks on the dollar, or a few dollars to stop being listed over there. I just don't think it was possible. I think this is a fantasy that he's going into. But I don't know. It looks to me like the latest couple of posts that Mark's got an issue with Google. And I don't know where that's coming from, but that's kind of what's being indicated here. All right. NVIDIA is introducing a Telsa 20 series GPUs. Now, you guys know that in recent years, there's been some very cool stuff done in supercomputing by doubling up high-end graphic cards. And this is some amazing stuff that a lot of people are doing. It's, a lot of science is being done on a very low budget. It's really cheap in supercomputing terms. They're saying that these new 20 series GPUs, which are going to be, of course, mounted on a GPU PCI Express Gen 2 card, will run between $2,400 and $19,000. But, you buy 4 of them, put them in a machine, high-end machine, and what you really have there is for under $100,000, you've got yourself a supercomputer. And, depending on what series of card you buy and etc., most of these cards that they're developing like this don't even have a video port on them. They're just a graphics card you stick in the machine, and it's just got a flat front face. It's not even used to drive graphics. It may process graphics inside and do lots of calculations, but that's about the extent of its, what you would consider it to be its true usage as a graphics card. So pretty cool stuff on that front. Boy, I tell you, Verizon and at&t are battling it out in commercials, and of course at&t has filed a false advertising lawsuit. And as people are starting to analyze this closer, it just looks to me like at&t is, the truth hurts, as Engadget says. The truth is in the numbers and the coverage maps. at&t has done a great job in basically rolling out nationwide coverage, but its 3G network is really saturated around big city centers, and beyond that, the coverage is not that good. How many of you have an iPhone, 3G iPhone, and in your area there's no 3G? And how does the 3G map that Verizon's been advertising compare to your coverage? And I know we've got listeners all across the country in small, big, and medium-sized towns, and I'd love to hear what you guys is, what your network speeds are. Are you still on Edge? Do you even have Edge connectivity where you're at, or is there 3G? And what do you think about AT&T's battle here with Verizon? I think it's just calling AT&T out for what it is. I think it's, AT&T is, while their 3G network is what it is, AT&T saying that's, basically false because it's not showing our true high-speed network with the addition of Edge. So we'll see. But AT&T is still, really busy promoting Edge, and that hasn't changed. So, but I'm sure many of you that listen to the show are on Edge. AT&T Edge. All right, Apple. Good article at Geek News Central, written by one of our writers over there, Suzabel. Word has come out that Apple has applied for a patent for an enforcement routine that will force viewers like you and I, force us to actually watch an advertisement. It's not where we could opt out. It actually forces us to do so. The patent application indicates that the forced advertisement will freeze a device until you indicate that you've actually read or responded to the ad through the use of clicking a box or answering a test question. This technology would work on any device with a screen, including televisions, computers, media devices, cell phones. The ads can appear at any time while the device is being used. Any device that I get that has an advertisement enforcement routine on it is immediately going to be subjected to a hammer because I'm not going to put up with it. But I could see where they may sell a device that would be, essentially advertising driven. Would you buy such a device that the only way you could use it is to watch ads? Hey, over in Gizmodo, we talked about the Apple deals on Black Friday. Apparently, they're going to offer, this is the rumor, up to 30% off all iPods, up to 25% off all Macs, up to 15% off all accessories on Apple software and Apple hardware. Apparently, this does not include an iPhone or the iPod Shuffle. So if you're looking to save some money on Apple products, deals applicable on Friday, November 27th only. And it says select Apple stores will open at 6 a.m. How can they have select Apple stores? Select? Wouldn't you, if you're going to have a deal like this, wouldn't you open all your stores nationwide at 6 a.m.? Can't be select. All right. Apple iPhone developers, they have one more thing to deal with here. iPhone apps now have to be approved by robots. Apparently, what Apple is doing is that they are actually going to be scanning the apps when they're being submitted, and they're going to be looking for third-party API calls. So if you have a third-party API call or a private API call, your app is going to be rejected. Up to this point, that has not been the case. It's been, if you've been able to keep your private API call down underneath the radar, you weren't found. But if your app has gotten approved in the past, they're now searching that stuff out, and you won't be approved going forward. So, of course, the developers aren't happy because now it just adds another layer of review for the specific app. All right, as you all know, I've had some challenges of recent keeping weight down, and my wife has quite nicely and gently prodded me to make sure I'm eating better. And being traveling a lot, it's very difficult to really to eat well. And I found a website called specialgourmets.com. And I found this via researchbuzz.org. And this site lets you map hotels, restaurants, and other destinations that accommodate several different diets. Talks about soy-free, egg-free, shellfish-free. Basically points you in the right direction for restaurants that will support the specific diet you may be on. So you don't have to go searching around for it or have menu items that will support your diet. This is smart, because there's many times that I wish I could eat well and yet really don't know where to go, especially when you're a city that you don't travel in very often. So, it's just you roll the dice when you go to a restaurant, and many times there's not time to search stuff out. So this may be a site that I'll be able to use on a more recurring basis. All right, how many of you just wonder what the odds were on something? Well, there's a new website called The Book of Odds at bookofodds.com. The site does just as it sounds. It gives you the odds. You can do a simple keyword search looking for odds, or just looking for, how many, what are the odds of, and then you write in your text, and if it finds an answer, it'll give it to you. So it'll give you a visual representation of the odds as well as a space for comments, and there's all kinds of weird stuff on this thing. So I think you'll have fun. How many people under the age of 13 drink coffee? It gives you an answer. So I had a funny thing happen to us last night. We went and saw 2012. How many of you have seen 2012? I don't take the family to the movies hardly ever, but of course this is one I wanted to go see. So I loaded them up. I must admit the graphics in the beginning were 90% good, 10% cheesy. The plot was pretty predictable. Overall, pretty good movie. I was impressed with the. I better not spoil it. I can't if you haven't watched it. Very interesting movie. 2 hours and 38 minutes. Well worth the ticket price to go see it on a big screen. Because the beginning 30 to 45 minutes is big. You got to see it on a big screen. So, pretty cool show, and I think that you'll enjoy it. But how it relates to this conversation on what are the odds? I was just talking about how many people drink coffee before they're 12. Well, my 5-year-old on the way home, and I don't know where he got this, is he's like, Dad, well, because there was a lot of people that obviously were dying during the 2012 movie, and my son was like, Dad, why do people have to die? I said, well, Chris, people get older, and with time, people naturally die. And he's like, I want to drink coffee so I don't grow, so I don't get old. I want to drink coffee. When we get home, I want coffee. I'm like, huh? What do you mean? You drink coffee, you don't grow. Your brain doesn't work right. And how he made this connection to coffee and stunting growth, and I'm still kind of dumbfounded. We haven't had a conversation about it yet, but it led from this movie to about people dying and me saying people get old to him saying I don't drink. I'm not going to drink. I'm going to drink coffee so I don't grow. How that just tied into that article, I don't know how we got there, but we did. So, all right. Scoble, I'm going to tell you, he's hitting on all cylinders. He's got a couple of cool articles here that I want you to read. And what is Twitter for? Well, of course, pimping your blog or your podcast. But Scoble has done something that I think is a good idea. Of course, Scoble's got, 100,000 people following him, so he can afford to have more than one Twitter account. But he's launched Scoble Blog, Scoble Media, and, of course, Building 43. Now, Scoble Blog is only for my blog. I won't put anything else in the feed, just be blog posts. Scoble Media is when he posts video or someone else's video. And Building 3 is for items that are posted on the Building 43 website. And, of course, he's going to have his normal Scoble Twitter name. Do you guys think that's a good idea for the average person to have 4 Twitter accounts? I don't know. Or 5? I don't know if that's a good idea or not. I got one for Podcast Awards. We have one for Raw Voice, Blueberry, but those all serve a specific purpose. I don't know if I could do Geek News Blog, Geek News Media. I don't know if that would make sense. Would any of you follow 3 or 4 of my Twitter accounts? geeknews@gmail.com, voicemail hotline, +1 619-342-7365. Scoble's got another article here, and I said he was hitting on all cylinders. The worst things startups do. And I've seen this kind of an abbreviated list like this before. But one thing that I know that we definitely don't do at Raw Voice, have plush offices in the most expensive part of town. We don't even have an office. We all work in our own offices. We have a virtual office. And believe me, it saves you a lot of money. We don't have a PR firm. We are our own PR firm. We don't fire fast enough. Well, when you're small, you don't have anybody to fire. And you have a too cool name and logo. Well, I don't think we have a too cool name, but we do have cool logos. So anyway, link will be up in the show notes. And I have another article here for you to read too, and this is probably the one I want you to read the most. And it's basically saying, my world has changed, and I get to share with you. And I'm not going to go into the details. Once you read it, you will understand it. Again, another Scoble article. Three tonight. That's a record, I think, from any show that I've done. 3 of his articles. They all hit home to me tonight. And if you're into translating stuff, I was actually testing this with my wife, doing English to Japanese translations, and she was shocked. She says it's pretty good. It's pretty close. And I'm like, you mean I could write a letter to your mom and translate it, and she'd actually be able to read it? She says, I think so. She said, there's a few things that are quirky, but she would get the idea. So this is pretty cool. 51 languages representing over 98% of internet users are available. And there's 3 new features: translate instantly, read and write any language, and what's the other one? Text to speech. So when translating into English, you can now hear translations in spoken form by clicking the speaker icon. So that's pretty cool. For those of you that are not English speakers, you can actually hear the English translation spoken to you. So I have this cool new features on the translate stuff. All right. One thing that at this point, that I don't like about Chrome is that there are some extensions out there, but when I try to load some extensions on my version of Chrome, they wouldn't load. And I guess my 64-bit version and whatever rev I have does not work with extensions. But there's some indication out that Google is preparing to launch a Google extension gallery, which is good. So this is apparently an impending launch of a theme gallery and also an extension gallery. So we'll see what happens here with this. And they feel that this is getting real close. So I'm hoping that extension gallery gets launched and we'll be able to add stuff onto Chrome, and it actually may give me an excuse to, dare I say it, stay on Chrome instead of Firefox. Find this article over at downloadsquad.com. Okay, let me go ahead and get into the last couple of articles. 15 great Google Chrome extensions. I have that linked up to you in the show notes. Also, more rumor about the Apple tablet coming, and that there may be yet an announcement this year, so we'll see on that. Windows Mobile, boy oh boy, it's a sinking ship, folks. It's lost nearly a third of its market share here. Windows Mobile lost 28% of its. I hate these pop-ups that just pop up when you're scrolling across the screen. It drives me nuts. Windows Mobile lost 20% of its smartphone market share between last year's third quarter and this year's third quarter. So that's huge in a year. And, of course, we know who's to blame for that. Big news on the Apple side. Of course, Apple has won a landmark victory against Mac clone maker SciStar. And this is huge. The U.S. District Judge William Alsop ruled last Friday that SciStar had violated Apple's copyright when distributing Mac OS X with its machines, and that the company was also in violation of the anti-circumvention provisions in the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. As a result, the judge has dismissed SciStar's counterclaim and ruled in favor of Apple, and this is huge. They're done. They are done. Now, they're still in business. If you want to order your SciStar computer, you better do it now. Because there's a few more things in the legal process, but the big gorilla in the room has just smashed SciStar. The Hackintosh community is still going to be moving forward, and Apple has a long way to shut that down. Matter of fact, a lot of, I hate to say it this way, but Mac fanboys came out and really was hammering on Jeffrey for his article at Geek News Central on this particular subject. I'll let you guys go over and read the commentary over there. But, I'm a firm believer that the folks at Apple should be selling Mac OS X so I can install it on any computer I want. Now, I know people have disagreed with it in the past, but hey, it's a PC, right? If I can run Windows on a Mac, why can't I run Mac on a PC-based machine? You guys are saying you can. You just got to buy a Mac. So we'll see, but that's not going to stop the Hackintosh folks. And a little more articles on the SciStar loss. This is an interesting statement made by Viacom's top lawyer. He said that suing peer-to-peer users felt like terrorism. Michael Freikles, Viacom's general counsel, told a group of Yale law students that he's a huge fan of fair use, and he doesn't want to take down your YouTube mashups, and he has no plans to start suing peer-to-peer users in federal courts. And but he does love DRM and the three strikes law, and he felt that when he was going out there and having to go after colleges and trying to get them to shut down peer-to-peer usage, he felt that to do this, it felt like terrorism. So it's kind of an interesting comment made by him, and that's kind of an odd way to put it, but I guess that's the way these guys feel. All right, if you have an iPhone and you have any type of musical skills, there's a app out there called 4Track, and of course the name probably sums up its purpose. It's providing a slick-looking 4-track recorder for the iPhone. So if you want to put down a track and then you want to record over the track with some more beats or whatever, you can do it. 4Track is a new iPhone app out there that's getting some good press. All right, that's the end of the regular content tonight. Let me go ahead and get right into voicemail so we don't run long. geeknews@gmail.com. geeknews@gmail.com. Voicemail hotline is +1 619 342 7365. Here comes the first one.
Hi, Todd. Joey in Atlanta. Just listening to Friday's podcast. You were talking about Netflix holding off for 30 days in return for getting the movies half price. I don't think that's a bad deal, but I seriously doubt they're going to pass that on the consumer for anything. It'd be nice to see that they maybe pass a little bit of that savings along and maybe try to attract in a few more customers. I don't currently use Netflix. I have in the past, but I would be definitely more willing to return to Netflix if they pass that along, what they're saving. Anyway, just my thoughts. Thanks for the show.
Hey, thanks for calling and thanks for the comments on the Netflix decision. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting seeing what develops there. But yeah, if they pass on the savings, that'll be cool. But I don't know if that's their plan or not. I was playing with my Netflix queue to watch on my Roku, and I noticed that you can watch more of the movies on your computer than you can like on your Roku. Of course, everything's available to get via DVD, but it's essentially the brand new stuff. It's very hard to get in your instant queue to watch on a Roku. You can get more of the newer movies, again, right directly to your PC, but it is interesting on how they actually stack what you can watch and where. So we'll see what happens there. All right, the next voicemail is from one of our new regular callers now. Matter of fact, you've called so many times, I can't play all your voicemails, dude. So I'm taking one, and I appreciate the multiple calls. But yeah, if you want to call every show, that's good. But I can't play all three of them. We had to be here another 15 minutes. Let me go ahead and play this, though. And new listener to the show.
Hey, Mr. Cochran. This is Vincent again.
Hey, aloha.
No, you don't always have to get us all excited to get comments, man. And I heard you speak about the security. The security I was talking about is when we go through airports is what I want to speak about.
Oh, okay.
I pretty much understand that Macs, that's why I buy them for my family. But I was more into finding the iPhone. We can do that through Mobile Me. But I wanted to hear more about the software that would be for my Mac.
That's
and
the security.
I think they call it LoJack, and I don't remember that system, that program. And is that the only one that's out there, man? Yeah, you do a good podcast. You do a very good podcast, though, man.
Hey, Vince, I think the program you're looking for is LoJack. I think that's the one you want, dude. I think you're good to go if you go with that. Maybe the Mac users are going to tell me different. Maybe LoJack isn't the one to use, but I think that's pretty popular. Now, there's some other ones out there. I very rarely travel with my Macs, so I don't have any of that loaded on any of them. but I know some of our listeners do, and there's probably a variety of programs out there that will essentially protect your Mac and call home if it's, or you can get in touch with it if it's been stolen and it gets up on the internet. So I'm sure we're gonna get some response to that. So thanks for calling, and we'll get you some more details. Okay, very very cool. All right, let me go ahead and get into the comments here. Got an email from Timothy, and he said, "Hey, my review of the movie 2012, my thoughts about the Mayan predictions." And he gave me a link to that. So if any of you, again, this may have some spoilers in it, folks. So if you don't want to read this article, don't go to the link I'm going to provide for you. Got an email from Andrew, longtime listener of the show, Andrew Darlow out in Jersey. He said, "Hey Todd, I just saw this and thought it was pretty cool. This is a link to Samsung's website. It's a new Samsung dual view digital cameras, has dual screens." Hey, Andrew, that thing's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Oh, and on the last show, we actually asked the viewers whether or not they knew what I was holding up to the screen at the end of the video. And Richard, many people submitted stuff, but I'm going to give the prize tonight to Richard of Aurora, Colorado. You're right. It was a coconut that had been shelled out, had a zipper put on it, and it was handed out by Cisco. Basically, those of you that even took the time to look at it, and I've got it back here behind me, is it was a coconut cut in half. They took all the guts out of it. Then they taped in or glued in a zipper and then stamped Cisco on it and put swag inside it. So it was like this little carrying device. So, Richard, you are the winner of a $50 PayPal payment. Congratulations on that. And on the next show, we'll have another giveaway on the video side. So I'll have something cool for you guys to check out for video portion. So if you haven't checked out the video show, consider doing that. And from time to time, we'll be giving away prizes specifically for the video audience. Of course, don't worry, audio audience. I'm not going to forget about you. We'll be coming back and doing some promotions. And then we're getting ready for Christmas here. So I've got some stuff that came in from vendors this year. We're going to start giving away some early Christmas presents as well on the show, so you definitely want to tune in. Okay, of course, congratulations to Richard on that. Got an email from Near. He said, "Hey, Todd, I'm not sure you received my previous email regarding WorldMate. At least I did not hear you mention any latest podcast. Since you do a lot of air travel these days, a must-have application that I highly recommend is WorldMate at worldmate.com. It's probably the best business travel application that's out there. It keeps tabs of your schedules, flights, flight delays, warns of changes, suggest alternatives in case of delays or cancellations, hotels, etc. All on your BlackBerry, iPhone, and numerous other mobile handsets. As I mentioned before, I know the people behind WorldMate Company, but I'm not associated with them, nor I'm being compensated by them for mentioning the app to your show. The app comes in two flavors, freemium or gold. I would recommend that you try it out. I'm very confident you'll be impressed. All the best, and thanks for showing Near. Near's out of he's a listener out of Israel, and Near, thanks for that. I appreciate it. Got an email from Jay. He said, "Hey Todd, I haven't heard anything and was wondering if you announced anything on your podcast. Thanks again for everything." And what was this about? Oh yeah, okay. Jay is looking for a job. Jay is a podcaster over at techpodcast.com. He lives in Albuquerque. So, Sam, maybe you can help Jay out. He says, "I'm looking for a web design / graphic design position. I have over 10 years of web-related experience designing sites for Reader's Digest, QSP in New Mexico, as well as a number of church ministries, nonprofits. I've experience with Dreamweaver and PrintShop Pro and know HTML, JavaScript, CSS, and PHP. I work extensively with WordPress and experience in site promotion, SEO, and new media such as Twitter, Facebook, and podcasting. I'm proficient on both Windows and Linux systems and know a wide range of programs, including Microsoft Word, Excel, Lotus, OpenOffice, Outlook, WordPerfect, and many, many more." He's got a telephone number. It's area code 505-750-3121. This goes to his Google Voice. His name's Jay Forrest, and he lives in Albuquerque. Again, he's looking for work in the web design / graphic design position. He has over 10 years of web-related experience. And if you think you may have an opportunity for Jay, let him know. Hey, if you're out of work right now and you're looking for a job, email me here at gatenews@gmail.com. We'll read your short resume on the show and see if we can find anything out for you. Again, Jay's telephone number again is 505-750-3121. See if we can help out Jay with a job interview, and let's see if we can get him back in work. Got an email from Frank. He says, "Hey, listening to your new podcast, We're Running Errands, I find the negative responses to your blog post deplorable. I heard a quote today from the late Senator Moynihan, which I think is relevant. I'm quoting from memory, so I may miss a word, but I have the gist. Everyone is entitled to his own opinion. Everyone is not entitled to their own facts. If they don't like the facts, that is their problem, not yours." And and swear word deleted, grammar flames are lame. If they flamed your grammar, it is because they could not flame your facts. So probably true. I don't know. We'll see. Thanks, Frank. See, that's actually a press release thing. That's it. That's all I got for tonight, folks. And we will try to... Oh, Podcast Madness. Jeffrey, give me the website again. Is it podcastmadness.com? And I need to actually get I don't even know where my promo code is. I need to put it on the next show. Hopefully it isn't too late. I'll be announcing a promotion for Podcast Madness and give you guys a chance to win something. So I'll do it in the beginning of the next show. I didn't have it written in the show notes tonight. Shoot, forgot. But I'll be giving you a promo code to use. Listen at the very beginning of the next show, and I'll have that out, and you get a chance to win some cool prize on a promotion we got going on this month. But I guess that's it. geeknews@gmail.com. The voicemail hotline is +1 619 342 7365. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out, and thanks for me dealing with this switching around with the video and stuff. We'll get that worked out, and everyone take care. We'll see you next time. Aloha.